This is how to make eraser stamps, just like these ones. I've made both big and small with different brands of erasers. The one that I'm currently using I'll show here. I have a 150 pack. Here's some of the basic things you'll need, and I will list it on the screen. This is what I started out with from a wood carving class, and then this is what I upgraded to. It has 4 different sizes. I like that I can sharpen it. I have one of these, it's called a slip strap. I can't show how to use it because I'm not 100% sure I'm doing it right. You can refine your tools. These are my dream tools, but they're way too expensive for me. And then if you wanted to use a bigger sheet, you can get something like this. I've used it for my bookmark. I just cut it in half with X-Acto knives. Tracing paper is just translucent and it's used for transferring your design because when you put it onto the eraser, it flips it around. So the process is just drawing it, tracing it if you have paper, and then you're just going to rub it on. You can either use this bone folder like I have, or a back of a spoon, anything like a ruler. Then you carve out around the lines, unless you're trying to go for the opposite effect. I'll show in a second. I have this older ink pad, but I have upgraded. Also, you can put it on copy print paper, tea, coffee stain paper, recycle paper, whatever you want. That was my old one, and now I have archival ink, which should last longer and is darker, but use what you want or what you have access to. First, I start out by tracing the eraser so I know how big to draw my design. And then once I'm done with that, I take an idea. I have a whole list, but you could also just use something like my last video was from an old sketchbook. If you're gonna sell these, I would get printmaking paper, and then these are only the things that you really need. I've made this zine and colored it in with markers just by having those tools before I upgraded. So we're gonna start with something really simple today. I'm just gonna do like a little leaf branch. I feel like rounder, smaller designs can be pretty hard. I don't know what your guys' skill level is. Anyways, tracing paper, you're just gonna cut out a piece that's the size of your eraser, put it on, face down, rub it with whatever you've got. This is a bone folder, but you can also use whatever you have at your disposal. But I'm going to do it without one just to show you guys that you don't need it if you're just starting out. You're going to try and draw what you want your design to look like backwards. I'm not very good at this. You can also take a picture and flip it on your phone to see what it would look like and draw it that way. I've done that a couple of times. I probably should have done it this time, but I was kind of in a rush to make this. I'm not feeling very well, and I'm not sure if I'm sick, so this is a little bit of a run through. Anyways, I carve around the lines first with my smallest and work my way up to the biggest to take out any of the extra bulk. If you carve the lines instead of around the lines, you're going to get these white lines, and you will probably use up more ink, but it's a cool effect. So we're going to go ahead and start this. The proper way I'm showing right now is to have your finger on top and carve away from yourself. This one, it was a bit of a struggle for me. Do what I say, not what I do, because I actually flip mine around and carve towards myself. You're not supposed to do that, but I have more control, and I've been doing it for over half a year, so this is just kind of what I'm used to. Be very careful, and I'll show you like how this could end up bad if you're not carving slowly. You could just slip and cut your finger like right there. I didn't cut myself, I'm just showing you. I've never cut myself, but I just want to put a disclaimer because I don't want you guys getting hurt from my video. So yes, carve away from yourself like I'm showing. You'll see me flipping back and forth because it's very uncomfortable for me, but I'm doing my best, guys. And then when we are finished carving outside the leaves, when carving inside the leaves, you're going to apply light pressure, and then you're going to press harder to get a bit of a scooping effect to get the middle part out, and then you will end off with lighter pressure. So it kind of is like a scoop. I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm not a super great teacher. So go in, and then you're gonna go down, and then you're gonna kind of like pull it up when you're doing that. So light pressure, and then harder, and lighter when you come out. Yep, there we go. gonna do that again. Bear with me. I didn't want to speed this up too much and have you guys under the illusion that I carve really, really fast and that it'll be a simple, 5-minute sort of process, which it could be if I wasn't filming, but for beginners, probably not. If you mess up and you kind of cut something but it's still attached, I use super glue and a little mechanical pencil and just dab it right under there. Let it dry, and then I just break off the tip of my mechanical pencil. That works fine for me. I don't know what you guys want to do. You don't have to follow that information, but that's what I do. And then I'm going to switch out for the biggest one that I have to carve away the remainder of the outside. If you want it to be messier, you can just leave some of those lines there. You can see if you were carving this with the tiny tool, it would take a lot longer and be sharper because it doesn't take out so much of a big scoop. So I'm gonna carve one side in kind of a messy way, leave some of it so you can see what that looks like, and then I'm gonna carve the other side to be very neat and cleaned out. So you see this side is pretty flat, and then this side has a lot of variation. I used the big one and the small one to kind of give it some texture there because some people like that. So we're gonna stamp that, and you can see which parts have ink on them. If you were going to carve more, you would carve the parts that have ink on them. It's pretty simple. Go ahead and put a lot of pressure. It's gonna take a bit of a stamping, but try not to move it too much, or you could get a little bit of a smearing effect. I kind of didn't do the best on this one, but we're gonna try again. There we go. There's a comparison between copy paper and recycled paper, and that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know.